Ever find yourself going down a research rabbit hole and wonder,
Uh-huh.
who organizes all this information?
Right.
We're taking a deep dive into the world of archives.
Okay.
And the answer might surprise you.
Yeah.
You've sent us some interesting sources on the role of an archivist.
I have.
So let's unpack it, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm curious, what does an archivist actually do all day?
Well, it's funny you should ask that
Okay.
because it goes way beyond just like those dusty old books that you see,
Okay.
in the movies.
Right.
Think documents, photos, videos,
Uh-huh.
even things like emails and social media posts.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Someone's out there archiving my tweets.
It's true.
I should really rethink that last meme.
Yeah, you might want to be careful what you post online because anything can be considered archival material these days,
Wow.
especially with so much of our lives going digital.
Right.
And an archivist is responsible for managing that entire life cycle.
Life cycle.
Yeah.
Can you give an example of what that would look like in practice?
Sure. So imagine a historical society receives a huge donation,
Okay.
boxes upon boxes of old letters,
Yeah.
maybe some vintage photographs, and even diaries.
Uh-huh.
Now, an archivist wouldn't just start organizing right away.
Right.
They need to assess the historical significance of those materials first,
Okay.
figure out the best way to preserve them from further damage.
So they're not just like throwing them in a filing cabinet somewhere.
No. It's much more involved than that.
Okay.
They have to organize it in a way that
Wow.
makes them accessible for research.
So they're like a combination of historian, detective,
Yeah.
and like professional organizer.
You could say that.
Okay.
And increasingly, they need to be tech savvy as well.
That's interesting.
Digital archiving is a huge part of the field now.
That makes sense with all the digital content we generate these days.
Exactly.
It's not all acid-free paper and white gloves anymore.
Not anymore.
Wow.
Archivists are using digital imaging to preserve fragile documents
Hmm.
and even blockchain technology to create incredibly secure records.
Blockchain.
Yeah.
I always hear that term, but I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure how it works.
Sure. So think of it like a digital ledger that's nearly impossible to tamper with.
Okay.
Every transaction,
Mm-hmm.
or in this case, every piece of data added to the archive, is recorded and linked to the previous one, creating an unbreakable chain of information.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing technology.
So archivists are using really cutting-edge technology to preserve history.
They are.
That's pretty incredible.
It is.
It sounds like a job where you're constantly learning and adapting.
For sure.
What got me really interested was where this work actually takes place.
Okay.
What kind of environments do archivists work in? Is
Yeah.
it just libraries and museums?
Well, those are definitely common workplaces.
Okay.
But you'd be surprised by the variety.
Really?
You could find archivists in universities,
Uh-huh.
government agencies, even private corporations.
Wow.
Each setting comes with its own unique set of challenges and rewards.
Okay, that's way more diverse than I imagined.
Yeah, it's a pretty broad field.
But what's it actually like working in those environments? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, the RoleCatcher career guide we received mentions that it can be both incredibly rewarding and demanding.
Okay.
On the one hand, you're surrounded by history.
Right.
Imagine uncovering hidden stories within historical documents.
Yeah.
For a history enthusiast, that's a dream come true.
Sign me up for that.
Right.
But you mentioned demanding.
Yeah.
What are some of the less glamorous aspects of the job?
Well, it can be physically demanding.
Okay.
You might be handling heavy boxes or working in environments that aren't always climate controlled.
Oh, right.
Plus, some archival materials can be very delicate and require meticulous care to prevent further damage.
So a dust allergy is probably a deal breaker for this career path.
You might want to stock up on allergy meds. The guide also mentions potential exposure to pests, so there's that too.
Okay, maybe it's not all glamorous, but
Yeah.
there's something undeniably fascinating about preserving history and making sure these materials are accessible for future generations,
It's true.
even with a few sneezes along the way.
It's all part of the job.
So for someone out there thinking, this sounds like my dream job, what does the job market look like?
Okay.
Are we talking fierce competition, or is there actually a demand for archivists?
Well, interestingly, the RoleCatcher guide indicates that the employment outlook is actually quite positive.
Really?
Yeah. As we generate more and more information,
Right.
particularly in the digital realm,
Uh-huh.
the demand for skilled archivists, especially those with expertise in digital archiving, is expected to grow.
So there's a real opportunity here,
No, there is.
especially with this growing need for digital archiving expertise.
Absolutely.
But let's get real for a second.
Okay.
What are the pros and cons someone can actually expect when working in this field?
Sure.
You mentioned rewarding and demanding, but I'm curious about the specifics.
Yeah, so the RoleCatcher guide does a good job of laying out both sides.
Okay.
Job stability is definitely a major pro.
Okay.
Unlike some fields that are constantly in flux, the role of an archivist is pretty fundamental.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
After all, we're always going to need people to help us make sense of the past, right?
precisely. And the work itself can be incredibly engaging.
Okay.
Imagine spending your days surrounded by historical documents, piecing together fragments of the past like a detective.
Yeah.
There's always something new to discover.
That does sound pretty amazing for a history buff like myself.
Yeah, it can be really rewarding.
But what about the downsides?
Okay.
The guide mentioned salary considerations,
Right.
and I imagine it's not all about uncovering hidden historical treasures.
You're right. Unfortunately, archivist salaries aren't always as competitive as some other professions.
Okay.
And it's important to be realistic about the day-to-day tasks.
Yeah.
While there's potential for exciting discoveries, there's also a lot of routine work involved, like organizing, cataloging, and digitizing materials.
So it's a balance like most things in life.
It is.
But I imagine those aha moments when you uncover something truly remarkable make it all worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of which, I'm curious about the career trajectory in this field.
Okay.
Where does someone even begin?
Well, the guide outlines a pretty clear path,
Okay.
starting with an entry-level archivist position.
Okay.
Think of it as an apprenticeship, where you're learning the ropes from more experienced archivists,
Right.
assisting with basic organization and preservation tasks.
So a lot of hands-on learning and building a foundation in the basics.
Exactly. Then, as you gain experience and knowledge, you might move into a junior archivist role,
Okay.
where you take on more responsibility,
Uh-huh.
work more independently,
Okay.
and start engaging more with digital formats and archiving techniques.
Which is where those digital skills become increasingly important. It's not just about knowing how to handle a delicate manuscript anymore, right?
Right. And as you progress even further, you could find yourself in a senior archivist position. At that level, you're not just thinking about individual documents or artifacts,
Right.
but developing archival strategies for the entire organization,
Okay.
managing teams, and even mentoring those eager entry-level archivists you were once in their shoes.
Wow, from preserving individual pieces of history to shaping how history is accessed and understood as a whole.
That's right.
That's quite a journey.
It is.
And it seems like technology plays a key role in that evolution.
It absolutely does. Earlier, we talked about digital imaging and blockchain.
Right.
But those are just two examples of how technology is transforming the field.
Okay.
Archivists are increasingly using artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze and categorize massive data sets,
Wow.
making information more accessible and searchable than ever before.
It's like we're using the most cutting-edge technology to unlock the secrets of the past.
It really is amazing.
That's incredible. And it makes me think about the future of archives in a whole new light.
Yeah.
What will the role of the archivist look like as technology continues to advance at such a rapid pace?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
The way we create, store, and access information is constantly evolving,
Right.
and the role of the archivist has to evolve along with it.
So if we're already talking about things like artificial intelligence and blockchain, what comes next?
Right.
What are some of the potential challenges and opportunities that future archivists might face?
Well, one of the biggest challenges will be dealing with the sheer volume of digital information.
Okay.
Think about it. Every email, every social media post, every website,
Yeah.
they all have the potential to hold historical significance.
It's like trying to archive the entirety of the internet.
It's a lot of data.
Where do you even begin?
It's a daunting task, for sure.
Right.
Archivists of the future will need to develop new strategies for identifying, preserving, and organizing this massive amount of data.
Right.
And they'll need to do it in a way that ensures long-term accessibility.
Because what good is preserving history if no one can access it, right?
Exactly, and that's where things like metadata and digital preservation techniques become absolutely crucial.
Okay.
Archivists will need to be experts in these areas to ensure that the digital records we create today are still accessible and meaningful to generations, centuries from now.
It's like being a digital archaeologist uncovering the stories and experiences of our digital age.
It really is.
That's a pretty incredible responsibility.
It is, and it highlights the crucial role that archivists will continue to play in shaping our understanding of the past, present, and future.
I'm curious, with all this talk about digital archives, are traditional archival skills becoming obsolete?
That's a great question.
Is there still a need for things like preservation techniques for physical documents?
Uh-huh.
Or is everything moving towards the digital realm?
That's something that's actually being debated within the archival field.
Oh, wow.
While it's true that digital archiving is becoming increasingly important,
Right.
traditional skills are still very much in demand.
Okay.
Remember those boxes upon boxes of historical documents we talked about earlier?
I do.
Someone needs to assess those materials, preserve them, and make them accessible, even if they're eventually digitized.
So it's not an
Hey,
either-or situation. It's more about having a blend of traditional knowledge and digital expertise.
Precisely. The ideal archivist of the future will be comfortable working with both physical and digital materials,
Okay.
understanding the unique challenges and opportunities that each presents.
It sounds like a career that requires a lot of adaptability, constantly learning and evolving as new technologies emerge.
It does.
But that also sounds like part of what makes it so fascinating, right?
Absolutely. It's a career that's constantly evolving, which keeps things interesting and challenging.
Right.
And it's a career that's deeply connected to the past, present, and future.
We've talked a lot about the skills and expertise needed to thrive in this field.
We have.
But what about the personal qualities?
Okay.
What kind of person is drawn to a career in archives?
That's an interesting question based on my experience.
Yeah.
Most archivists I know are incredibly passionate about history and have a deep respect for the past.
Okay.
They're also incredibly organized and detail-oriented with a knack for seeing patterns and connections that others might miss.
So it's not just about memorizing dates and names.
No.
It's about being a detective,
Oh,
a storyteller,
Uh,
and a guardian of knowledge.
Exactly. They're the ones who ensure that the stories, experiences, and knowledge of the past are preserved and accessible for generations to come.
And that's a pretty amazing thing to be a part of, don't you think?
It really is a rewarding career.
And on that note, let's take a quick pause.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll explore some resources and tools that can help aspiring archivists take that first step towards this fascinating career path.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. And we're back. Before the break, we were talking about the personal qualities that make someone a good fit for a career in archives.
We were?
But let's say you have the passion,
Right.
the organizational skills, the detective's eye for detail.
Uh-huh.
What are the practical steps to actually break into this field?
Well, like many specialized fields, education is key.
Okay.
A degree in library and information science is often the standard.
Okay.
But some universities offer programs specifically in archival studies.
So you could actually major in being an archivist.
You can.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
What about for folks who might be a little further along in their careers,
Uh-huh.
maybe looking for a change?
Yeah.
Is it ever too late to make a move into archives?
It's never too late to pursue a passion.
Okay.
And remember, there's a real demand for archivists right now, especially those with digital expertise.
Okay.
Someone with a background in, say, computer science
Okay.
or even digital marketing could bring a valuable skill set to the table.
Interesting.
There are even certifications you can earn,
Really?
like Certified Archivist or Digital Archives Specialist, that can boost your resume
That's good to know.
and show potential employers you're serious about this field.
But even with the right degree or certification, I imagine hands-on experience is crucial in a field like this.
Oh, absolutely.
How does someone even get their foot in the door?
Internships are a fantastic way to gain practical experience and make connections.
Okay.
Many libraries, museums, and historical societies offer internship programs,
Uh-huh.
especially during the summer months.
So you could spend your summer surrounded by history, getting paid to learn the ropes.
Sick.
Sign me up. Right.
What about volunteering?
Yeah.
Could that be a viable option
Oh.
to gain experience?
Absolutely. Volunteering at a local historical society or archive is a great way to demonstrate your interest and commitment,
Okay.
even if it's just a few hours a week.
Right.
And you never know what you might discover
Right.
or who you might meet while volunteering.
You might uncover a hidden historical treasure
You might.
or meet your future mentor.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about something that can be a bit of a pain point for job seekers in any field.
Sure.
The resume.
Yeah.
Any tips for making your resume stand out in the competitive world of archives?
This is where that RoleCatcher resource really shines.
Oh, right.
Remember how we talked about it being a game changer for job seekers?
Their AI-powered resume builder.
Exactly.
That sounds incredibly helpful.
It is. How does that actually work?
It analyzes your skills and experience
Okay.
and then tailors your resume to the specific requirements of each job you apply for.
So no more generic resumes getting lost in the abyss.
Exactly.
That's a game changer, especially in a field where you need to highlight such specific skills.
Right.
What about interview prep?
Uh-huh.
Any tips for acing that crucial interview?
RoleCatcher has you covered there, too.
Okay.
They have a massive database of potential interview questions,
Wow.
along with tips and strategies for crafting compelling answers.
Okay.
They even offer mock interviews to help you practice your responses and build your confidence.
Wow. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
It's a pretty amazing resource.
That's incredible. It sounds like RoleCatcher is an invaluable resource for anyone interested in an archival career.
It is.
Or really any career for that matter.
Any career.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
It speaks to how technology is not only transforming the way archives are managed,
Right.
but also how people are finding and pursuing careers in this exciting field.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
It's amazing how everything seems to be interconnected these days.
It is.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive,
We have.
from the surprisingly diverse roles of an archivist
Uh-huh.
to the exciting possibilities of digital archiving,
Right.
and even practical tips for launching a career in this field.
Yeah, it's a great field.
As we wrap up, what are some final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with today?
Well, if you're fascinated by history, passionate about organization, and excited by the possibilities of technology, a career in archives might be the perfect fit for you. It's a field that's both deeply rooted in the past and constantly evolving with the future.
And thanks to resources like RoleCatcher, taking that first step toward an archival career is easier than ever.
It is.
You can build your resume, prepare for interviews, and even get discovered by potential employers all in one place.
All in one place.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's an exciting time to be an archivist or to consider becoming one.
It is.
The future of history is literally at your fingertips.
That's a great way to put it.
What a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
A big thanks to you, our expert guide, for taking us on this deep dive into the world of archives.
It's been my pleasure.
And to you, our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you've learned something new, discovered a potential career path, or maybe even just gained a newfound appreciation for the people who dedicate their lives to preserving our collective history.
Here.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those aha moments coming. And we're back with our deep dive into the world of archives.
It's a fascinating field.
It is. And before the break, we were talking about the personal qualities that make someone a good fit for a career in archives.
Right, like their passion for history and those organizational skills.
Exactly. But let's say you have all that.
Okay.
You've got the passion, the organizational skills, the detective's eye for detail.
Uh-huh.
What are the practical steps to actually break into this field?
Well, like many specialized fields, education is key.
Okay.
A degree in library and information science is often the standard.
Okay, so that's like the tried and true path.
It is, but some universities offer programs specifically in archival studies.
So you could actually major in being an archivist.
You can.
That's pretty cool.
It is a very niche field.
It is. What about for folks who might be a little further along in their careers?
Uh-huh.
Maybe looking for a change?
Right.
Is it ever too late to make a move into archives?
It's never too late to pursue a passion. And remember, there's a real demand for archivists right now,
Okay.
especially those with digital expertise.
Right, because it's not all about those dusty old books anymore.
Exactly. Someone with a background in, say, computer science
Okay.
or even digital marketing could bring a valuable skill set to the table.
Interesting. So your past experience could actually be an asset in this field.
It could. And there are even certifications you can earn, like certified archivist or digital archives specialist that can boost your resume.
So it's like a way of signaling to employers that you're serious about this.
Exactly. And it shows that you have the knowledge and skills to handle the job.
That's good to know. But even with the right degree or certification, I imagine hands-on experience is crucial in a field like this.
Oh, absolutely.
How does someone even get their foot in the door?
Internships are a fantastic way to gain practical experience and make connections.
Okay.
Many libraries, museums, and historical societies offer internship programs,
Right.
especially during the summer months.
So it's a great opportunity for students or recent grads.
It is. You could spend your summer surrounded by history, getting paid to learn the ropes.
Sign me up.
Right.
What about volunteering? Could that be a viable option to gain experience?
Absolutely. Volunteering at a local historical society or archive is a great way to demonstrate your interest and commitment,
Right.
even if it's just a few hours a week.
Yeah.
And you never know what you might discover.
Right. You might stumble upon some hidden treasure.
You might, or you might meet your future mentor.
Exactly. Those connections can be so valuable.
They can.
Okay, let's talk about something that can be a bit of a pain point for job seekers in any field.
Yeah, the dreaded resume.
Exactly. Any tips for making your resume stand out in the competitive world of archives?
Well, this is where that RoleCatcher resource really shines.
Oh, right.
Remember how we talked about it being a game changer for job seekers?
Yeah, their AI-powered resume builder.
Exactly.
That sounds incredibly helpful.
It is. It takes the guesswork out of resume writing.
So how does that actually work?
It analyzes your skills and experience,
Okay.
and then tailors your resume to the specific requirements of each job you apply for.
So no more generic resumes getting lost in the black hole of online applications.
Exactly. It helps you put your best foot forward.
That's a game changer, especially in a field where you need to highlight such specific skills.
Right. It helps you showcase your unique qualifications.
What about interview prep? Any tips for acing that crucial interview?
RoleCatcher has you covered there, too.
They really do seem to have thought of everything.
They have a massive database of potential interview questions,
Wow.
along with tips and strategies for crafting compelling answers.
So it's like having a cheat sheet for your interview.
Kind of. They even offer mock interviews to help you practice your responses and build your confidence.
Wow. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
It's a pretty amazing resource.
It is. It sounds as RoleCatcher is an invaluable resource for anyone interested in an archival career.
It is, whether you're just starting out or looking to make a change.
Or really, any career for that matter.
Any career.
It speaks to how technology is not only transforming the way archives are managed, but also how people are finding and pursuing careers in this exciting field.
It's an exciting time to be in the field, that's for sure.
It really is. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the surprisingly diverse roles of an archivist to the evolution of digital archiving.
Right, and all the tools and resources available to aspiring archivists.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of archives, what are some final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with today?
Well, I'd say if you're fascinated by history, love the thrill of uncovering hidden stories, and are excited by the possibilities of technology, a career in archives might be the perfect fit for you.
I think that's a great takeaway. It's a field that's both deeply rooted in the past and constantly evolving with the future.
Exactly.
And thanks to resources like RoleCatcher, taking that first step toward an archival career has never been easier.
It's all about having the passion, the skills, and the right resources to guide you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A big thanks to you for joining us today and sharing your expertise with us.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of archives. We hope you learned something new, discovered a potential career path, or maybe just gained a newfound appreciation for the people who dedicate their lives to preserving our collective history.
It's important work.
It is. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those aha moments coming.